Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Sunday Night Sports Guys, and we are making our YouTube debut. And joined with me tonight is my right hand to everything we do here on the Sunday Night Sports Guys, Bladzy, Troy Blades in Hammonds Plains, Nova Scotia. Bladzy, welcome to YouTube. We have arrived to the big scene.
Man, dude, only took us about 49 years for me, I guess 52 for you. Finally on the big stage. All like 5 or 6 people that watch this. How you doing? Hopefully she works out.
Well, this is our, as we've been telling everybody, tonight is more of a trial run to see how this thing is going to work itself out. So right now I'm just going to try to bring up there's our Sunday night thing there. Now, where's our logo? Nope, don't want that one. Let's see. Nope, need that there. So like I told everybody, this would be a little bit of trial and error.
Probably no different than what we've been doing.
Yes.
Trial and error.
So we got this here. There's Bladzy's name. Come on. All right, there we go. That's now showing. And here we go. Duke is here. And this text, nope, don't want that. Tony Brown, Sunday Night Sports Guys, we got that. Now I'm just trying to find where our logo went to. So anyway, we are going to get to some sports talk tonight because we didn't want people just to show up for the sake of doing it. But we do appreciate anybody that is showing up tonight to see how this unfolds. Like I said, technically we're trying to work out the kinks because this is kind of the platform where we wish to go. YouTube is by far and away the number one medium for talk shows and sports programs and stuff like that. So just bear with me a little bit, making it to YouTube. Okay, we got that. Trying to find our friggin' logo, and I can't believe that I've lost that. So let me just take a quick look at downloads here. So tonight we are going to be discussing, Bladzy and I, so we kind of thought what would be some things to talk about. So as most people know that follow sports real close, so let's see, we can put that up there. That's got to be shortened. Appreciate everybody's, so the Sports Guys is up there, Sunday Night Sports Guys. Okay,
Link just texted me trying to figure out how to get on there, so.
Who is this?
Trying to. Link.
Okay.
Hopefully you made it on, Link.
The only thing I'm thinking, okay, so we got 3 people viewing.
There you go. Well,
which is a good thing.
Me. I'm trying to see what's going on.
Right on. One of those are you?
One of those are me, I think. I think you got to go on there to see if anybody chats, right?
Well, that's the whole thing. We kind of want to hope that somebody will do us a gooder and make a comment just to see how that's going to play itself.
Whoever's on there, say hello.
Yeah.
Good. See if we see anything.
Okay, so let me check up here. All right, so nothing's happened there. So let's try here. Anyhow, our topics.
You got the logo up there, dude.
What's that?
I think you got the logo from what I can see up in the right-hand corner.
Logo's there. Do you see our names?
Yep.
And you see Sunday Night Sports Guys?
I do.
Okay.
Man, you're real pro at this. Let's get it going.
All right, so I'm just... And you see Sunday Night Sports Guys? Okay, there we are in the background. So we are...
pro at this.
Okay, I'll pause that one. So not too bad. So I got like 2 computers on the go here. The only thing I'm not seeing is somebody being able to make a comment. So there were 3 people watching. Where are we? 4. 2 gives us a thumbs up. Pretty good. That's good. Whoever you are, we appreciate that.
I didn't do that yet, so I guess that wasn't me.
No. So that's 2 other people. So if people can, if it's possible to make a comment on the side. Okay, I don't know who that is. That's something else. All right. All right, I just want to try one quick little thing. So I've gone on a separate account, the hockey guy. Well, someday we'll meet the hockey guy, but I don't need you coming in. Colin Howard, get the heck out of here. About the time you want to do something, about 35 notifications comes up. So
somebody just said, "Hey, Duke, White Pine Fjords."
White Pines Fjords.
You know that guy? Oh, there we go, Jeff Jones. Look at that. Oh, man, we got
Looking
all
good.
kinds.
Hey, dude, White Pine Fjords. Gee whiz. I'm not sure who White Pine Fjords is, but that sounds like a beautiful place.
There you go. Well, we got Jeff Jones. We know where
Jeff
he's from, the
Jones.
Hawk. That's another beautiful place.
Hey, dude, we're here. All right. Okay. Oh, okay. So now I'm seeing it on here. Click to view 3 comments. Okay. So.
Oh, it's Dale White. There you go.
Oh, Dale.
He wants us to talk about the Yankees.
Yankee talk.
Give it, Dale.
Well, you know what? Dale's taking the time out to talk to
Yeah,
him.
we'll talk
Come
about
watch. We will discuss that. Actually, that's one of the things that
yeah, we got to talk about
I remember. You don't have to tell me what it was. I remember you said it earlier. Let's see. We'll call it. Let's see. This here. This will be a great. This will be a great header. Let's see. Take out that O. I put that there. Dale will really appreciate this heading once we get to it. So let me add. So bear with me, Dale. Bear with us, everybody. We're trying to figure this thing out on the fly.
We'll do better next time for sure.
Apparently, there's a number of ways of how you can do a YouTube live stream presentation. I did not realize it took as much as it did to put it together. But I think once you get the handle of a certain platform connected with it, it can be pretty good. So the particular one that we are using is called Ecamm, and it's a bit of a paid thing, not a big deal, and it does give you a lot of things you can work with. Just as you're seeing above here, you can see our Sunday Night Sports Guy logo. You see the Sunday Night Sports Guys. Oops, didn't want to put that there. Let's take that off. Sorry, Dale, you see it before it's supposed to come up.
Oh, no.
So anyway, we have our names. So we're kind of playing with this a little bit tonight. So as topics come up, I'm going to have to do a little bit of producing at the same time of talking and things like that. But one of the topics we did want to discuss tonight, a few of them we're going to discuss, and the first one is the Little League World Series. So we're going to put that there, and here's our Little League World Series logo. We'll put that in the middle of me and Bladzy. And if you guys can see these logos and things that are watching, could you just make a quick comment of what you're seeing on the screen? We'd really appreciate that. That will really help me to understand how this is working, what isn't working, if you're seeing things, and things like that. So Dale saying be nice. Well, we'll do our best, Dale. We'll try to be friendly Red Sox fans later on and stuff. So, but anyway, when we thought about topics for tonight, kind of last minute this morning, just lazy threw it out. What are we going to talk about tonight? You know what? Last night on the way home from work, I listened to an interview on ESPN regarding the Little League World Series, which got started today. And so I thought would be a good thing in honor of the Little League World Series is for Bladzy and I to, maybe share a few stories of when we played Little League and maybe how we got started and some big moments and stuff like that. So Bladzy, I'm going to let you go first and share with the folks, a little bit about, how you come to get into baseball and, playing days and things that, that really stand out to you, when you were part of the great Clark's Harbour Area Minor Baseball Association, famously known as CHAMBA.
Well, that's right, Duke. Dale like this. CHAMBA was obviously probably the greatest, the best minor baseball association in Nova Scotia.
Definitely.
Had to be.
Definitely.
Had to be. But no, I mean, growing up, you're a couple of years older than me, Duke. I don't think that's a secret or anything. But when CHAMBA was created in 1979, it was that was right in the wheelhouse kind of thing. Just getting ready to play ball. I think I played 1 year before that. 78, we played over to Barrington there and played in. Not much of a baseball league at all. But once CHAMBA started, thanks to good old Mayor Mike and a few of the other fellas that got it started, it ended up being quite a time. And as you know, I don't want to speak for you, but obviously, hockey wasn't as big for me. Played hockey a little bit, until I was about 12. Had to drive to Shelburne. Had to drive an hour to play hockey. So baseball was it for me, kind of thing. And we just. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Going in the CHAMBA van, driving all over the province. Man, that thing stunk. Holy smoke, it stunk. You get done playing a doubleheader in Windsor. It was always hot up there in Windsor, Dale. Holy shit, it's always hot. But no, I mean, a couple of things. I mean, we always had a good time. We always had fun, and I do remember, since Dale's on there, not trying to pander to him or anything, but I do remember two of the most the best things that we did. Probably we played in a provincials up in Windsor back in, I think it was '83. That was like Bantam C provincials. We ended up losing that one. I think they ripped us off. I'm pretty sure Windsor come up with something. They came up with some kind of rule where Robin Gorham couldn't pitch anymore or something like that. We're going to go with that anyway. But we got him back the following year, 1984. It was still Bantam. We played it down here in Bedford. About a 10-minute drive from my house right now, and we ended up coming back and winning that one. So that was our first provincial that we won, actually, as our team. We won a Mosquito D way back in like '79 or something, but I don't really count that. But so the Bantam C provincials in '84, where we ended up losing a game, coming back, had to go to Labor Day and all this stuff, and beating. I think it was Bedford. I don't even remember. Yeah, I think it was Bedford that we ended up beating. But I know Windsor was in that one too. But it was good. Baseball was where it was at, man. The Clark's Harbour for sure.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, mine goes all the way back to when I was 9 years old, and I'm sure you're going to get a kick when I remind you, if you remember them old candy cane uniforms that Paul Atkinson bought once upon a time, and I think my sister Carla still might have the picture and stuff like that. Oh my good Lord! You talk about going back to the days of Ty Cobb and all them kind of guys looking uniforms. Them candy cane ones, I'll tell you, they were something else. But that was my first year of playing. Was back in '79. I'm going to say you're better with dates for sure.
Well, '79 was the first year CHAMBA, so you would have played before that in those candy canes, because we actually borrowed those candy cane uniforms from you guys, I think, in '78. We played with Sandy Wickens there back behind the Bear Point machine shop there or whatever, and we played the provincials there. I know my mother's got a picture on Facebook every once in a while, and I'm in that stupid candy cane red and white with red stirrups and blue socks.
Yes.
And blue socks? What are you doing? Let me wear blue socks. Anyway. But, so you would have probably played a little bit before '79 in those candy cane uniforms. And then, like I say, then CHAMBA was created in '79. You probably were, what, Misties or whatever? Beaver age at that point?
Yeah, that's kind of where I was going to go from there. I remember, getting back to the candy cane thing, what my attraction was to the game. Actually, I go back even earlier than that. And there's a few people I want to bring out into this, and I think this discussion is going to go a little longer than I anticipated, because there's some very fond memories and things like this. Like I can remember, Christ, and names will elude me, especially not having been home for a while. But where you go down, and this is going to be a lot for people back home, Link and all them who know the island and stuff like that. But, between where Geneva's restaurant used to be and then where that big turn comes up to where the doctor's office used to be, and you go down to Swims Point. Well, just down below, as you come down off of that, there was a place that used to play ball in there, as long as they didn't get flooded out or something like that. And what's his name? Grant comes on there, talk about politics every once in a while.
Grant Smith. Grant Smith?
Is it Grant Smith? Is that his last name?
Yeah.
Anyway, there was Grant, and there was Lee Chimbick, they called him, Lee Stoddard, and Moose Mike, and all them kind of guys. They were all playing, and we played in the backyards, and that's how we got our start in ball. It wasn't real organized until Pops come along, Paul Atkinson, and he started running, a program, and we were playing like, it was really like almost Cape Island League. It was Stony Island. Newellton, I think, had a team. We played Barrington, Bear Point. There might have been some teams like that. You didn't travel far, right? We weren't talking provincials and any of that kind of thing. It was mainly around the island and in that southwest area and things. And then from there, that's, as you mentioned, was when we got into the first year with the Misties. And, this particular story we're talking about would not be complete, and we'll definitely talk about a few more other things. But, your father was a key instrument in times with CHAMBA, and Mike Nickerson. I mean, Mike deserves full props that guy he kept a lot going with CHAMBA for a very long time. There's times him and I clashed as I got older and playing and stuff like that, but that's neither here nor there today. But, guys like that, when I started with the Misties, it was crazy. We had Raven Ron Newell was our coach, and Uncle Gomer. Gomer was assistant coach at the time, right? And the very first tournament we got into, and I think Mike was on board with it too. I think Mike came as an assistant. Ronnie was supposedly the head coach, but Mike was kind of working his way into it, right? And he was the one that set up that tournament in Hantsport. And that was probably the first time where I'd had some real good success in baseball. Because we played in that Hantsport July 1st tournament.
Canada Day tournament, yeah.
2 years in a row. And I'm not bragging, and I do not know this, but I had a home run in every single game that I played in. We played 3 games each year, and I had a home run in every single one. And that was kind of a little league highlight that really stood out for me. But it didn't stand out as much for me as Sean Willie. And this is where Sean Willie got the name Willie, was in friggin' Hantsport. And, there's moments, in life, whether it's like family and stuff like this, or for those of us who play sports, that really stand out to you. And here comes Willie, and we're up. I don't know what the score is. I think the bases are loaded, or second and third, or something like that. And we got a chance to win this friggin' trophy. And it's a big deal. I mean, it's not provincials or anything, but we're only like 10, 11, 12 years old. So we're not old enough to really fathom the whole thing of provincials and stuff. It sounds great, but we got a chance to win this friggin' trophy. We can see that thing right there, right? And who was pitching? I think Cousin Leonard. And anyway, I forget even who we were playing. I know Dale's watching, and I can't remember if Windsor was ever in that tournament or not, for sure. Maybe he can make a comment and let us know. But anyway, this ball gets hit, and it just loops out over top shortstop. And I think Fabian was playing shortstop at the time. And here comes Willie, and honest to God, for 11-year-old kid, you would have thought he had drank vanilla like Buddy Jones did before a Foggies game. In comes Willie, and I'm like, there's no way he's going to catch that. And Troy, you know the story. At the last minute, Willie just shoots his glove out, and I'm telling you, he's no more than this far off the ground. And Mike, or it might have been Gomer, and Gomer's like, Jesus Christ, he said, Willie Mays. How did he catch that fucking ball? And from that point, that was the name that stuck with Sean Nickerson, was Willie.
He's Willie to this day.
To this day, if I went back home and went down to what's his name's, Bryce Cunningham's, a Sea Star. If I went down to Sea Star, Willie would still be there, and I wouldn't call him Sean. That's how I'd address him. Is Willie.
Probably wouldn't answer you if you called him Sean. I think he's talking to somebody else.
And but this is where, talking about the Little League World Series, it's all good for us as players and stuff. But you know what, we both of us owe it. Particularly, yourself, you made it all the way to, umpiring into the minor leagues and stuff like that, and that's a result of CHAMBA and getting your start in baseball, things like this. I had the opportunity to try to play on the 1985 Canada Games team. Didn't make it, but it was a great experience and things like that. And but Robin Gorham, he made the Nova Scotia team, and he also made Team Canada and things like that. And so we've, for a small island and for such a small organization, I think it's, it did well to represent itself in the province of Nova Scotia as you said earlier, a very established, minor league program. And when baseball was big around home, and a lot of that was when you and I played. Baseball hit that kind of crescendo where it got big again, right? I mean, we had, what was the most? We had like 13 teams at one point.
Yeah, we had a lot of teams. We had, 2 or 3 in each age division until you got up to like 14, 15 years old where people started working and stuff. But those lower leagues, man, you had three or four teams, and Woods Harbor had a couple teams. Barrington had a team. Frig, man, there was teams everywhere. You didn't have to travel far. Now these guys got to travel all over the province to get some games. But you say, and we always like to say, our generation or whatever was the best or whatever, and we had the best teams. But just looking at the provincials this weekend, I think baseball's making a good comeback down in Clark's Harbour. We had teams in they don't call it Bantam and Midget and Beaver anymore. They call it U15, U18, or whatever. But we had teams in the U18, U15, and the men's team was in the intermediate AAA provincials, and all of them, made it to Sunday at least, made it to the playoffs. I don't think anybody pulled out a win, but it's still baseball's still going strong down there, and per capita, I think, I'll put us up against anybody for the population for sure. Yeah. And like you said, we owe it a lot. I mean, I owe everything to CHAMBA. I mean, if it wasn't for that, I spent 12 years in professional baseball, and like you said, it wouldn't have happened if we didn't have baseball around home. So, that's, people say, how do you like baseball so much? But that's why. It's not necessarily the sport. Just grew up with it and owe a lot to it, kind of thing, and wouldn't have it any other way.
Well, that's kind of been the pattern around home, and I won't speak for other parts of the province. I don't know what went on there, but I do know the history of Cape Island, and baseball has that ebb and curve type thing. You just go back and look at it. I mean, as I was telling you about when Pops come on the scene with those candy cane uniforms, that's when baseball started to hit a little bit of a renaissance again and things. And, like you, I mean, I owe so much to not just the game of baseball, but to the organization of CHAMBA and things like that. I mean, they were always very good at, raising funds. Good thing about Cape Island is the people were always very generous in contributing money and support of that. The canteen, people, getting your hot dogs and hot chocolate, especially in Cape Island with all them freaking cold, foggy days. We weren't drinking pop and that kind of shit. We were drinking hot chocolate and hot dogs.
Yeah, hot chocolate in July.
Hot chocolate in July. And, But yeah, I mean it helped create a lot of the friendships that I earned over the years. My cousin Sean Simmons, him and I would hang out each summer. I'd be in Woods Harbor for a few days. He'd come on Cape Island and stuff. But it was through those things where I met guys like Kent Devine, one of the best players I've ever played. Definitely one of the best team guys that I've ever played with in my life. What are some other things I remember from playing days? Well, the different names we had in Clark's Harbour, the Buccaneers, what did Mike come up with in Midget? The Corsairs.
The Corsairs. It was he wanted to go another Pirates.
Yeah.
But then we had a Pirates uniforms. We didn't want to have the same as you guys had, so we just went Pirates. We weren't that creative.
No,
he took them all. So, but Buccaneer. We had the Misties for the Beaver team, which obviously the small foggies kind of thing, and it was good, man. I remember there's times, man, the place was packed, and just watching kids baseball, it was pretty cool. So, depending on who you were playing.
Well, a lot of other guys came out of it too. I mean, obviously we mentioned Robin Gorham, and his career baseball wise is very legendary back home in Clark's Harbour. But there's some guy. There's Jerry Nickerson, who went to John Jay College for. Your program has got some merit to it when you start attracting American college guys to come over here. You remember Andy Blaylock from Connecticut?
Blaylock it was, I think.
Yeah.
I think it was Blaylock. I don't know. It might have been Blaylock. I don't know. I can't remember. But we made those connections when we went to that baseball camp, Jerry Remy camp there in Massachusetts back in the early 80s. But, nowadays it's not as big a deal, I guess. I mean, there's a lot more Nova Scotians that do go down to the States and play college ball. But back then, man, that was a huge deal, especially for us, to get those three guys win. I mean, it's only a Division III school, and nowadays people go, wow, that's nothing. We got 1,000 people down there. But back in the mid-'80s, man, that was a big deal, especially in Clark's Harbour, for those three guys to go down there and get that experience. And, obviously they didn't go the whole 4 years or anything, but you know what? They got an experience of a lifetime, a little bit of education, and, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, while we got Dale's watching and things like that, and I'll tell you, for during our years there, We didn't get a chance to play against each other too much when we, become full-fledged adults and stuff like that. Maybe might have faced each other once, but I can remember those. That was a rivalry with, I think it was Windsor for 1 year. Then they became Falmouth and stuff like this. And I remember, and why one of these particular years stands out to me is because it was at about that time that my mom was going through her cancer battle and things like that. And I remember the game we had in Clark's Harbour. It was a best of 3. First game was in Clark's Harbour, and then the next 2 games were going to be played in Falmouth. And just right on cue on a Saturday afternoon in Cape Island, fog and everything, and these guys come down from Windsor, Hantsport, Falmouth, in around that area. And they're just looking around. It's like, where in the world are we? And there's water down off the end of the, that's back before F.A. Brannan, which, by the way, Bladzy, is your grandfather, I believe.
That is my great-grandfather, yeah. Great-grandfather.
Great-grandfather.
Annis's father, yeah.
Yeah. So after a while, it got to be, you say Fenway Park. Well, no, we're playing at F.A. Brannan today. So that was a big deal then. But to finish my story with Dale, we meet these guys. We played them, I think, once before that particular time I'm talking about. And Mike's telling us he's like, yeah, they got this left-hander. His name's Squiggy. I'm like, Squiggy? Well, that sounds pretty intimidating. Yeah, you got to be careful. He's got good stuff. And so, so finally end up playing. And Dale's very competitive. He was tough. He was a tough pitcher, to say the least. And then there was another guy. What the heck was his name? I can't remember. He was a taller guy, thinner type thing. But he was pretty good too. But anyway, to finish the story. When we played Falmouth, we went up there. I think we won the first game. We won in Cape Island. And then we went up there for the doubleheader, and I don't think we had as much success. But what I remember of that particular game was we went up there, and we played in a cow pasture, and there was no fence. The grass, I thought I was playing in Willie's backyard. You remember going to Willie's and where we played ball?
I might have been there once or twice. But.
Yeah, well, that's what it reminded. I thought, Jesus Christ, we're playing in Willie's backyard here. Paul Burgess, that's what his name was. Thanks, Dale. Appreciate it. And I thought, well, we just did, as much as the look come over their face, that they were in Clark's Harbour, and here's the fog thick as mud, and you could see the water, hear the foghorn blowing, and all this. We were equally as aghasted when we're looking at like, well, where's the fence? There it is right there, that tall grass. If you hit it in the grass, it's a home run. Oh.
Just like down on the hot beach.
Just like on the hot beach, yeah. I mean, that's the romance of baseball back then, right? I mean, just
Jeffrey's still on there. We used to play down the hot beach every day, man. We used to go down the hot beach, and not on the sand, but just up over the dunes there. We used to have a field, man. We made a field down behind Kurt Maxwell's and those guys that we played there every day, man. So it's kind of like your Willies or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
Willie, if T-Mac would have made it tonight, I remember going across the street from my grandmother. Like my grandparents were across the street from his grandparents, Charlie and Ethel Blades, and we used to play out back there. Ronnie Kenny's off to the side. If you could hit it on top Ronnie Kenny's roof, that was a home run and all this. But the games in Falmouth, why it stands out as a memory for me is, again, my mom was sick with cancer and battling and stuff like that. And I remember being at the plate, and she said, come on, Troy, hit one for me. And I was fortunate enough, thank God, for the cow pasture in Falmouth, because that ball was just high enough that it got over the outfielder's head, and it plunked in just on the edge of the tall grass. It was deemed as a home run and stuff like that. But no, great memories. I know we both can agree that the game of baseball has given us a lot of satisfaction over the course of our lives. Of course, being Red Sox fans, Bladzy, we've known a lot of disappointment prior to 2004.
That was back in the days of all disappointment.
What's that?
In the 80s. That was all disappointment in the 80s.
Well, we have to mention this one. You know what I'm talking about. Game 6, we're in your dad's, like everybody. I think the whole World Series was watched at your place.
I believe so.
Robert
1986.
Boo, Paul Hatfield,
I'll be
John
Yankee
Simmons,
fan.
your father, you, Bobby and Brandon, your mother. I think the old man came there.
Probably was
I
your
was
grandfather
there,
there too.
I believe.
I think your grandfather was probably there
Yeah,
too. We
and
have
I
two.
still
But
tell, is it John? Or no, John said to me, Duke, I'm coming across.
ah,
He never come
actually,
across until
no,
2004. That was a long journey coming across that road.
was yeah up. What was it? 5-3 in the last inning, 2 outs. 2 outs, nobody on, and John Simmons was across the living room and said, Duke, I'm coming across. He meant I'm coming across with a high five as soon as this game's over. And
Yeah, yeah.
it took him 18 years. So, unfortunately, but it was worth the wait, I guess, Duke.
It was. Dale makes a point, said you guys protested the field, and in the end, they sent both teams to the provincials. That is what happened. And
Is that happening?
yeah, and he made a comment earlier about going to Spring Hill, and he's right. We didn't fare out too well in Spring Hill. I think they won
Okay.
Falmouth or Windsor. They won the provincials that year there and things.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
But anyway, I thought it would be a good topic to talk about, seeing as the Little League World Series is going on. What did you say earlier? Canada
Yeah,
didn't fare out too
unfortunately,
well today?
Canada lost their first game against Mexico, I guess, the other day. So then they were in a must-win situation. Beat Italy. Was it yesterday or the day before? And then so they came up against Curacao today and lost 8-1. So Canada, unfortunately, is out. Nothing new for us, but not a big deal. But like we were saying, Duke, I mean, Little League, call everything Little League. In Canada, we don't play a lot of Little League. I mean, our whole thing, we never played Little League. We played the Baseball Canada minor baseball kind of thing. So, I mean, there's Little League up in Cape Breton, I guess, because they've gone to the Little League World Series before, back in the 90s. They were one of those teams. But, we don't play Little League in Canada. Now, I don't know about other provinces. I'd say British Columbia must, because they send a team every year, seems like. But for the most part, I mean, we're not sending our best players because a lot of them are playing the Baseball Canada version. Yeah. Whereas, you got to be in that Little League organization, which is,
so how do you know how that works?
I think you have to sign up. I have no idea the exact way it's done, but I mean, if you play in Little League, you're not playing in like provincials and things like that here. Yeah. I mean, you're just playing Little League stuff, right? Which is, I think it's a total different organization. So, most people here, and even Nova Scotia for sure, I mean, they're playing Baseball Canada, they're playing the provincials and things like that. Right. So I don't know exactly how it works, but I know Little League Baseball is a huge organization with a lot of people in it. But, in the States, that's all they play is Little League, right? Mm. But, first here in Canada, they got the two organizations. You got Baseball Canada and Little League. So you have to Google that one.
Right on.
But I do know it's two different organizations. You play in one, you don't play in the other.
Gotcha.
So I mean, we never ever played. I mean, we call it Little League, but we never really played Little League.
Right on.
It was all Baseball Canada sanctioned.
Yeah. All right. Well, we did pretty good. We spent about a half hour on that one, seeing as we were going to try to keep our
show. Everybody, Dale's the only one left. Oh, Jeff Jones still down there. Yeah.
Well, we're up to 7. We got
the hot beat just for sure.
We got 7 viewers right now.
Oh, well, I sent the links over text, so hopefully he clicked on that. If he's on, Link, if you're on here, say something, man. Anyway. You might have to go back if you missed your Willie story. He's gonna go back.
Yeah.
Pick out that one.
Right on. All right, so we're going to move along with the show, and we're going to discuss a few other things. Right now, the Antonio Brown nonsense is what I like to call it. And you know what? Our good friend Lindsey Brian, who is a diehard Steelers fan, told us last year, I think it was last year when it was known that Antonio was leaving, and Le'Veon Bell, that the Steelers should be taken as a serious playoff threat. And, of course, you and I both laughed at him at the time. But I'll tell you what, Antonio Brown is making Lindsey Brian look like a friggin' prophet, if you ask me. I mean, what's your take on the whole Bell thing? Is there anything that's solid about this whole friggin' situation, or is it a bunch of nonsense in your opinion?
Well, first of all, let's not give Lindsey too much credit because, he doesn't believe half of what he says. And I don't think he believed that, but it might turn out to be true. Like you said, I think It's Antonio Brown. I mean, most of these wide receivers, I mean, let's look at them. Antonio Brown, Odell Beckham, all these guys, they're all divas. It's horrible. You know what? And, you'd think that he might have got humbled a little bit, Brown, but no, he's going to the Raiders and he's doubling down on his diva-nish, or whatever you want to call it. Like, I mean, it wasn't bad enough that he went and did some kind of treatment, got his feet all frostbit or something, could hardly walk for a couple of weeks. And then this helmet thing. I mean, look, the helmet, they knew. They were grandfathered in last year, these people that like these helmets. He knew this year he wasn't going to be able to wear the helmet. I mean, our main man, Tom Brady, he doesn't like the new helmet either. But guess what? He's an adult. He's an adult, and he's going to take the rule the way it is, and he's going to wear the helmet. He might not like wearing the helmet, but he's going to wear the helmet. Antonio Brown makes this big deal out of it, like they were going to change this rule. I mean, the whole rule is for safety. That's all they preach is safety, safety, safety. And then he wants the Players Association to come in just because he doesn't like this helmet. It's ridiculous. I guess he came back today. He came back to camp today. And I just saw something Mike Mayock just, came on there and kind of said, you know what, you come back or you don't come back. But, you got too many people here, pretty much paraphrasing. There's too many people here with too much on the line. We got a good team. We've had enough of this bullshit. If you read between the lines, to be honest with you. And you know what? He was never going to sit out. He was never going to retire. It's too much money. It's $50 million. I don't care who you are. That is a lot of money. Yeah. He's 31 years old or something. He's got a lot of life left. And in a few years, he's not going to be able to make that. So this was all just a show. Most of these guys, they don't like training camp anyway. I don't really blame them. Don't get me wrong. But when you're a new wide receiver and a new team and a new quarterback, you need to be out there a little bit because – there's a lot of timing and things like that have to be, taken care of. And Oakland's a shit show in the best of times. So, good luck to Oakland. We'll see what happens. But, he's the same as he's always been. I'm sure Lindsey's laughing his ass off because, you know what? I'm one of these people that said, man, when they lose Brown and Bell, Pittsburgh's going to be screwed. And the more I look at it now, I do think Pittsburgh could be better this year than they were last year because they don't have those guys. Bell didn't play at all last year anyway, but they still had that over their heads. Yeah. He's gone. Brown, with all of his bullshit, he's gone. I think Pittsburgh is going to be better, addition by subtraction almost. So, it's kind of ridiculous, but it's par for the course for that guy.
Yeah, and I think, this is going to be a real test year for Mike Tomlin of the Steelers because now you have both of those, obstructions that are gone. Not being able to be, a thing that he has to focus on. And I'll tell you, when you have that kind of nonsense going on, I mean, not everybody is a Bill Belichick. I mean, Belichick just does not he doesn't care who you are. You try being a distraction, and he'll let you go. He'll cut you loose. Like, there's nobody above the team, his team concept. So we'll see what it does for Tomlin. But, you really can't feel sorry for Oakland. I mean, here's a team that, as we both know, has just been a joke for a very rich historic team has become the epitome of jokes now. I mean, it's just been terrible for a very long time in Oakland. And it's not like they didn't know what they were going to get with Antonio Brown. Like any of these teams that pick up these kind of guys and think, you know what, it's going to be different with us. No, you're full of shit. It's never going to be different because those kind of guys are who they are. Right? And it doesn't matter color, race, or anything like this. When you have shown your colors, that's who you are. And if nothing dramatic happens to change your character, you're still going to be the same thing. So, for Oakland, not that it matters to me. I've never been a Raider fan. I think maybe once. No, I've never rooted for Oakland in any kind of game whatsoever. It's hard to feel sorry, and especially for Gruden. Here's a guy that's supposedly a pretty smart football guy, and to agree in on that side. I mean, but of course I could be wrong. There's no doubt that Antonio Brown is not a talent. That he's not very, very good because he is. He's a Pro Bowler and things. But gee whiz, when you're trying to turn your franchise around, does it make sense to go out and get a personality like that? Like, I don't see how you feel you can benefit from that.
No, and the Raiders are like the Cowboys. I mean, they attract freaking idiots, right? Yeah. And they don't seem to care about how the person acts off the field or what kind of person it is. They seem to just, he's a good player. Let's, maybe we'll turn him around. Well, it never works out. You know what? Belichick can turn somebody around once in a while. They took Corey Dillon there 15 years ago and turned him around and won a Super Bowl with him. But it doesn't happen very often. You need a locker room that's going to put the man in his place. Who's going to put Antonio Brown in his place in that Raider locker room? Nobody.
No.
And, I don't know. I'm sure, they're on Hard Knocks this year. Hard Knocks is not something I normally watch and probably won't watch it this year. I'm sure it's probably pretty interesting with things like that going on. But, I don't really need to see that. I mean, this is the thing. Oakland, with Gruden and with the pending move coming up to Vegas, they got a shitload of picks for the Mari Cooper trade. They probably are sitting pretty, having a decent team in a year or two, right? Yeah. But you go and pay this guy $50 million for 3 years, and he's just going to bring you down. And, so, I don't know. Good luck to him. That's all I got to say.
Yep. All right, so moving along from that scenario, we both felt to maybe discuss the FedEx Cup for any of our golf innuendos that we have out there. This is more up Bladzy's avenue than me, but I did hear a little bit about it on the drive into work this morning. They were talking about the FedEx Cup and with Tiger, winning it last year and all this kind of stuff. So, Bladzy, for people like myself who really didn't even realize there was a FedEx Cup, that tells you how much I followed, it seems to be this is kind of like the playoffs, like as we know playoffs in the team sports for golf. So maybe a little explanation of exactly what is the FedEx Cup, what's the purpose of the FedEx Cup, and is it something that, as a golf fan, is it important to maybe pay attention to what's happening with this?
Well, I think if you're a golf fan, you're definitely going to pay attention. I mean, number one, there's $15 million at the end of that rainbow. So I think most people are very interested in something like that, right? So, I mean, the FedEx Cup, they started it a few years ago. They're trying to make some interest, towards the end of the golf season. And what it is basically they get a certain amount of points every tournament, no matter, wherever they finish, they get a certain amount of points. And it accumulates throughout the year. And then, so the last 3 weeks have been essentially playoffs. So 2 weeks ago at the was it the Wyndham? No, whatever was after the Wyndham. Anyway, 3 weeks ago there was the top 125 were in that tournament. Okay, and then after that, you get a certain amount of FedEx points for that. And then after that, last week was the top 70. And now this week here is the last week of the year. It's the Tour Championship at East Lake. They always have it every year. So it's the top 30 golfers there. So they've done a few good things. I mean, golf's trying to, get a little more popular, of course, and they've done some good things this year because, number one, they moved it to August when there's nothing else going on, whereas, years ago it was kind of didn't get done until September and everybody's into football by that time. Yeah. So at least they've done that. They moved the PGA Championship back to May, which kind of moved everything back in the schedule, so that helped. But this year, the biggest thing, and you said about Tiger Woods winning it last year, well, Tiger Woods won the Tour Championship tournament last year. So he won that last tournament, but Justin Rose actually won the FedEx Cup because he got the points.
Oh, okay, I missed.
So it was, so it was kind of it confused a lot of people. Tiger won the tournament. Justin Rose went away with it was $10 million last year. So this year they've changed a little something. So because last year everybody started just like a normal tournament, but you end up getting FedEx points at the end, and then whoever had the most FedEx points for the whole entire year won the FedEx Cup. Well, this year, instead of that, they've got the top 30 that are playing. So the number one guy in FedEx Cup points going into this tournament is Justin Rose. Well, he's going to start the tournament at 10 under. The number two guy is Patrick Cantlay. He's going to start the tournament at 8 under. And then it's going down. So number 3 guys at 7 under, the number 4 guys at 6 under, the number 5 guys at 5 under. Okay. And then the next 25 guys are going to be in groups of 5 from -4, -3, -2, -1s even. So whoever wins this tournament is actually going to win the FedEx Cup. Now, Justin Thomas starting with a 2-shot lead over Cantlay, right? And a 10-shot lead over the last place guy. But you will see when you watch the tournament on Thursday, Friday, you'll know who's leading for this $15 million because that's how they'll have it. Yeah. So I don't know if it's good or bad. It's kind of weird, to be honest with you. Guys starting out with a big lead, but it's something. For me, golf. I mean, I've actually watched a lot of golf this year. Bet a lot
I
of
know, 'cause
golf. Played some DraftKings.
you're a big Pat Mayo fan.
I love Pat Mayo and Feinberg. Those guys. I listen to them every week. And I'm not a big gambler, but I do. I'll throw $5 on somebody or something just for fun, and it makes it interesting. It's been fun. I've watched parts of probably most tournaments this year, to be honest with you. But to say, this is exciting, must-see TV this weekend, I'm not going to go that far. I like the Ryder Cups, things like that, and the majors. I'll still watch, and like I said, I've watched most tournaments this year. But it'll be fine. If it comes down to the end, and you got a few guys vying for that title for $15 million, I think it'll be interesting on Sunday. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But I'll say it's easy to pick JT. I'm going. Patrick Reed. He won the tournament 2 weeks ago. He's starting out at -6, and Roy McIlroy's starting out at -5. And that would be my two dark horses, or two, not that dark horse, but the two guys off the lead that might be able to come back and win the thing.
Well, that's
just my own, just throwing it out there. Don't put much money on that.
Well, I don't know. You're very modest in some of the things you say when it comes
I've done a double, but you know what? I haven't listened to anybody. Usually I listen to Mayo and those guys, and listen to there's one called Gup's Corner that's really good, and you try to take little bits and pieces from these guys, and then put a couple guys to bet on. I haven't listened to anybody yet this week, so I'm just going by what I've learned over the year, and I'm just going to go with that and see what happens. But yeah, we hit a couple. I made money on golf this year. So, and actually this weekend I had some DraftKings. I was actually going into Sunday. I was up $100 on one lineup, and it ended up winning 30. So still not bad. Got a profit out of it, but it was looking pretty good there for a bit. But anyway.
Well, I think
a little bit of money for football. A little bit of money for football I needed for DraftKings football. Now we got some extra money in there.
Well, I think you're being fairly modest, because I will, like, I've known you forever and a day, and I think you're a guy that's great to learn from. That in the fact that you're very you do like to bet, but you're very responsible in it. Like, you're not somebody who jeopardizes his finances and stuff like that. You play a little here, a little there, and get a tremendous amount of enjoyment from it. But doggone, man, you're pretty good. Like, I've known you a long time, and yeah, you've not been right at times, but you've had some decent wins in there. I think, what was it?
Well, I'll tell you, I did throw $1 on a double, and it was Justin Thomas to win this past weekend, and Van Rooyen in the European Tour.
Yeah.
And Justin Thomas won, but Van Rooyen, he was actually leading after the first day, but ended up losing. So, $1 would have won like $500 or something. Stuff like that. It's just fun, right? But I did get half.
Didn't you call the U.S. Open winner?
U.S. Open. I put $5 on Gary Woodland at 100 to 1, so I got $500 out of that.
Friggin' Gary Woodland. Now, how did you come up with that?
You know what? Like I said, I owe a lot of my stuff to Pat Mayo and Jeff Feinberg, and for some reason, and I put that on in January. I was listening to one of their shows, and one of the guys said, you know what? Woodland's going to win a tournament, going to win a major this year. And then I put $5 on him. I said, if he does well this week, his odds are going to go down. So I'm going to put $5 on him at 100 to 1. He ended up, by the time the U.S. Open started, he was down to like 60 to 1 or 70 to 1. So it was good. And I was actually, I was down to pretty much nothing in my account. And I'm like, well, this is it. And sure enough, he pulled her off. So, but like you said, I don't bet a lot of money, dude. You know what? Like $5 on 100 to 1 shot is actually a big bet for me, right? Usually I just put a couple bucks on that, win 200. I'm not going to make a living out of it.
Yeah.
Not going to retire off it, but it makes it more enjoyable, right? Yeah. It makes it more fun to watch, for sure. Yeah.
Well, you certainly have done, approaching it the way you are, I think, is the best way you can go about it. And I know for some people, sports betting, betting period, whatever it might be, but particularly sports betting can be very dangerous, and of all the habits that are out there that can really destroy a person's life, I think gambling is probably the worst, because you can lose everything in one shot, and that's not good. So it's good to see people like yourself who take a more responsible approach with it. So that's what we know about the FedEx Cup. I'm a lot more enlightened now than I was prior to posting about it. And so we are going to finish with, where did I put that one? Especially just for Dale. And here we are. So excuse me, as I said, tonight is our debut on YouTube. So we're kind of learning the tech side, or I'm learning the tech side, from Ecamm to, produce the show on YouTube. And not too bad. It's been going pretty good. So what do we got? Yankee steroid behavior. This is kind of what we were talking about before the show, mentioning topics and stuff like this. And Bladzy said we need to talk about them Yankees, not steroid behavior, beating the roof and beating the dugout up and all that. Bladzy, what's going on? The Yankees are like 17 games ahead of the Red Sox. They're 8 ahead of, I think it's 8 or 9 ahead of the Rays, and they're beating the shit out of the dugout.
What are they going to do? What are they going to do in the playoffs when it gets close again? Like, they got a 10-game lead to beat the shit out of the dugout. Man, come on, Brett Gardner. Lay off the roids. Freaking roid rage guy. Anyway, no, the steroid thing's a joke, a gas spot. Well, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But, you know what? I mean, we had that thing going on. Hatfield was on to me there yesterday on Facebook about, it was a fire. I shouldn't have thrown him out and all this kind of stuff. And Hatfield had about 30 ex-minor league umpires jump down his throat. But, Paul Hatfield, that doesn't stop him. That's not going to stop him.
No,
having an argument, losing an argument is not going to stop him there. But anyway, those guys, Gardner's he's got to smarten up, man. I mean, everybody's kind of calling him out now. Like that beating on the roof, they're saying, you didn't say anything. You know what? Come on. Like, that's ridiculous. You can't be doing that shit. And you know what? He should have got thrown out for the first time. I think the umpires just didn't realize he was doing it, I guess. But it got so much press that everybody knows it now. They're ready for him. So, yeah, I think he's going to stop now. He knows that he can't do it anymore. So
yeah. Well, here's the thing about Gardner, and I think you would agree with. I mean, Gardner, he's very similar. He's like Pedroia to us, right? I mean, you may not like him because he's a Yankee, but aside from that particular episode, Gardner's the kind of guy you want on your team, right? He's a grinder. He has limited ability, but he's made the most of it. Like, he's worked hard to become a major league ball player, so you can really appreciate that aspect for him. But overall, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, our Red Sox are probably not going to be in the dance this year. So for Dale White's sake, he's a big Yankee fan, as we know. Let's be a bit objective with where the Yankees are concerned. If you were a Yankee fan looking at that team, and we both know it fairly well because they are our arch rival. If you are a Yankee fan, what concerns do you have? I know you're going to say maybe pitching right off the bat, but do you think that offense is it ready for prime time? Is it ready to take that next step, or is it just the starting pitching that's going to be the issue for the Yankees?
Yeah, well, I mean, like you said, I mean, it's easy for people to say the starting pitching. I mean, you don't have to be freaking Bob Costas to figure that one out. Like, they got issues, but I mean, they do have a great bullpen. And, they got better even. And, you know what, as we've seen in the past, Cleveland, when they had Miller and Chapman there, they shorten up games. It kind of can help your starting pitching quite a bit if you can shorten up games by having a big bullpen. But, like you said, what, these guys put on pinstripes and they turn into freaking Supermans. Like, half these guys, nobody even knew who they were. I mean, look at that lineup they put in there. Cameron Maben and this Tuckman guy and Austin Romine.
Gio Urshela, who's going to take me to fantasy glory.
Yeah, well, there you go. But, I mean, at least that guy was, he came kind of out of the minors and people knew who he was a little bit, man. Some of these guys, is like they just come out of nowhere. Like, they remind me of Scott Brosius there back in, 98 or 99, when he was, like, unbelievable third base. Like, he was a horrible player. And then he comes to the Yankees and he turns into a freaking giant killer. So, I mean, you never know, but, I mean, it's different in the playoffs, and if they have to go out with Tuckmans and Mabens and these guys in the playoffs, I think, the bright lights of New York and the Bronx are going to be a little bit tougher for them, but, I still think, I mean, I know the Yankees are ahead of the Astros by 3 or 4 games right now for home field advantage in the American League, but I cannot pick the Yankees over the Astros, and that's not a biased thing. I mean, I think anybody, if you look at the lineups and the starting pitching and the bullpen and everything all combined, I don't know how you can pick the Yankees to beat the Astros right now in a 7-game series. Not saying it can't happen. Obviously, it can happen. I mean, I would have, objectively, the Astros were awesome last year. They've had a great team for a few years, and you know what? They're better now than they were last year. They picked up Greinke, and things like that. I'm not going to say they picked up Sanchez. I can't say that was a big plus, even if he pitched no hitter when he first got there. But right now I got to think Houston is still the team to beat. But you know what? The Yankees can hit with anybody. So I mean, I don't know what's going on with Stanton. They say when they get these guys back, they're going to be better. But how can they play any better? How can they hit any better than these young guys have hit? I mean, Aaron Judge and Sanchez and Stanton can't hit any better than those kids been hitting.
I'll tell you what.
They might be able to hold their own.
Well, I'll tell you what I think. I think, if we're going to, and of course, you get pressure from ownership, and ownership definitely has the last say on, who ultimately will play. You can run ideas by them, and you can get by with some stuff in the playoff or in the regular season and things, and you have the argument of resting guys and blah 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 blah. But when it comes the playoffs, the showcase of your league, they're going to want their best players out there. And to me, this is a bit of, and I'm kind of talking from the perspective if I was a Yankee guy. This would be where Aaron Boone shows me some friggin', machismo as a friggin' manager, right? He's had the team that he's had all year. And you know what? Tip your cap to the Yankees with the injuries, unlike anything we've seen in baseball with that team in a long, long time. For them to be where they is, you definitely have to tip your cap to them and congratulate them on having a great regular season. But when it gets to the playoffs, just as you said, this whole thing about, well, if Stanton can get back and if so-and-so, Severino gets back, I don't necessarily know if that will be a great thing for them. I mean, how do you sit some of them guys down who have gotten you to this point and have actually improved as the season goes along? Now, of course, we know what, Giancarlo Stanton's capable of. There's no disputing that. We know what, Luis Severino is capable of. There's no disputing what them guys can do. But when you're trying to come back off injury like that, I don't know if playoffs is the place where I want to find out if you got your gumption back about you. I think if I'm Aaron Boone, I would go to management and say, you know what? These guys have gotten us here. And they have improved. They've kept getting better as the year gets. It's not like flashes in the pan. These guys have had good years. The Urshela and who was the guy that went down before first baseman? I forget his name. Voit. I mean, he was a guy last year who hit pretty good, at least against the Red Sox. He was one of the few Yankees that hit against the Red Sox last year. Voit had a good year.
DJ LeMahieu's been unbelievable since he's come.
Phenomenal. Who would have saw the guy coming from Colorado, being one of them typical Colorado Rocky hitters, and got better numbers in Yankee Stadium. Right-handed hitter, for God's sake. Huh?
Yeah, it's unreal. It's unreal what he's done. I mean, man, oh man, you gotta give him credit.
Oh, and that's another Yankee, Dale White. Let me tell you something, Dale. It pains me to tell you this, but I got two of them fucking Yankees, and they may well take me to a fantasy league title in the Southside Fire Hall. Possibility. I've already clinched a playoff spot, so hopefully they can keep it going into September. It won't matter either way to me at that point because the Sox are out and stuff like that. Bladzy, one other thing I want to raise with regards to the American League, and I know you were talking about Houston, and you think Houston definitely has the edge. I'll tell you what, the Yankees just got done playing Tito and those Cleveland Indians. I don't think we should really, kind of dismiss the Indians. I mean, that team they look more like the Boston Red Sox last year than anybody else, in my opinion. They've really lately just come of age with what they got there.
Well, they look. I mean, I know we talked about it last time there that I picked the Indians to come back and win that division there, 8-1 or whatever, and they ended up getting it tied. They may even taken the lead there briefly, and then you know what I did do on the site that I betted on, you can cash out at any time, depending on where they are. So when they before they started playing the Yankees, I think they were tied with the Twins or whatever, and I go, you know what? It was giving me like 4-1 instead of the 8-1. It's like half of the bet, so it's still going to make some money. Yeah. Cash out. Ever since I cashed out, Now they're 2.5 back, so it worked, I think. So anyway, so we've made money on that one, no matter what happens. But I mean, the Indians, if they end up in that wild card against Tampa Bay, I mean, that's a freaking coin flip, right? You get in that wild card, one game.
Yeah.
They're hoping that if they can overtake the Twins, because I still don't think the Twins. I know I know you picked them at the start of the year, and man, they got some power, but they're another team that pitching is not their friend. No. They don't have the greatest starting pitching, and they may be able to limp to the end and take that division. I don't know. Like you say, the Indians are strong. If they get in there, they could be trouble.
Well, they're playing with a lot of fun, and I mean, what's his name has really proven, Francisco Lindor. He's a fun guy to watch. I mean, if you just put your team bias aside and just look at the game for the people who are in it, and I know we're capable of doing that as well as many others. That's a guy having a lot of fun. And he has a lot of respect in that Cleveland dugout. I mean, he showed a clip of I forget who it was. I got to start taking down notes to be more detailed on this show. But anyway, there was some guy earlier in the year, and he didn't run out something. He didn't run out a fly ball, or he didn't run out at first base and stuff. And so Lindor took him to task, and you can see it on video if you YouTube it. And that's a guy that has that kind of respect. And he plays the game hard. He plays he's like Bogarts, I think, with a bit more pizzazz, sort of thing. Same skill set and that kind of stuff, but with a little more enthusiasm, a little more, got that Dominican about him, that really intensity that I'd like to see Bogey have a bit more, but I'm not complaining about Bogey. You know what, Cleveland.
That's another team, dude, that, you talk about the Yankees, but you look at their pitching staff, man. Look at what has happened to their pitching staff. Kluber's been out. Clevenger was hurt. Poor old Carrasco ended up with, I don't know, got leukemia or something. I mean, man, oh man, it's unbelievable. I mean, they've had, and then they trade Trevor Bauer. Yep. So, and these kids that they brought up, this Shane Bieber's turning into an ace. There's one guy, what's his name, Savali or something like that. Yeah. Zach Plezak. I mean, there's a bunch of them that, they're holding their own, these young kids in the starting rotation. I don't know what Kluber's situation is, if he's got a chance to come back. I don't expect Carrasco will be back. No. I don't know what's going on there. And Clevenger, I'm not sure too. But, if any of those guys can come back, I'll certainly give them a shot in the arm. Yeah. Going down the stretch.
Yeah, but with regards to, for Dale, I would say this. I mean, the guys that he's got there, I mean, Paxton, Happ, Tanaka, we still don't know about Severino. I mean, those three guys there, I mean, it is very possible they can get red hot in the playoffs, right, for a month. I mean, those guys do have a pedigree that tells you that they could put it together for a month. And if they can get you 5 strong, hold opposition to 1 or 2 runs with that offense and that bullpen. I mean, no, I'm not dismissing the New York Yankees, Dale. Don't take us that way whatsoever. I think we're kind of just
fun. Get some fun with them.
Yeah. They very much are. They're probably going to end up with the best record in the American League. They're going to get home field, right? Lefties in Yankee Stadium are a plus. You definitely need that. So no, we're not saying that the Yankees. Forget about them, not whatsoever. They do have guys with pedigree that can get the job done in a month, and so it should be. It's going to be as much as I want. Obviously, we both want the Red Sox to be there. I still think it's going to be fun baseball to watch. I'll guarantee you, when it comes to first day of the wild card stuff, I'm going to be sitting watching because I'm a baseball fan. I'm not just a Red Sox guy. I love watching baseball, and I love to root against the Yankees. So take that, Dale. Anyway, you want to take it. See, I got 2 things. And you see, this is how I approach sports. People say, well, don't you want to see the Yankees lose? I said, no, I don't want to see the Yankees lose until the 9th inning of Game 7. That's when I want to see the Yankees lose, because it gives me something to root for when my team can't get in there himself, right? So,
right, exactly. You got to have something to root against. If you don't have anyone to root for, you got to have somebody to root against.
You got to have somebody to root against, and it works the opposite.
Look at all the Patriot haters.
That's right. And Dale would tell you the same thing. He'd probably thinking the same thing last year with the Red Sox. He was a Dodger fan in the World Series. Well, anyway, Bladzy, we're up over an hour. Good luck with
Always
you and I
good.
trying to go a half hour on doing anything where sports talk is concerned.
Man, it's always. I don't know. Maybe a couple people will listen to it. Hopefully.
Yeah.
But listen, don't forget to remind these people. You know what? Now that we're on YouTube, man, just click that like button.
Subscribe.
Subscribe first. Subscribe first. That way you get notices when we're going to be on. Hopefully we're going to have something a little more consistent once football starts. Hopefully it'll be Sunday night. But hit the like button. There's a like button there. If you can hit that, throw in something in the comments, because these live chats, that goes away, I think. So throw something in the comment section too if you get a chance. Just to kind of get it. I think it gets you out there a little more with the algorithm or whatever it is on YouTube kind of thing. More of that stuff, the better. Yep. Share it on Facebook. We don't care. We don't mind looking like idiots because we're doing this. So.
Well, I noticed we're up to 11 subscribers, so we've done pretty good.
Go.
We've gained a few here today. So.
On a Monday night, man, that's pretty good.
Yes. Well, thank you, everybody that has took the time to watch us tonight. We really appreciate it, and we're very excited about doing the whole YouTube thing. We think this is really going to advance our show and things like this. Unfortunately, T-Mac wasn't able to make it tonight, but seems like Bladzy and I are the anchor of the Sunday Night Sports guys, and that's not a bad thing. And what I'll be working on is trying to get some other guests from different, from different sports and things. Looking at a guy called the Hockey Guy. He seems like an interesting individual who really loves the sport of hockey. So as we get closer to hockey, and we know we do have a lot of fans from back home who really enjoy the NHL. So we do know, Bladzy and I, that we got to step up our NHL game a little bit. So we're working on some guys that we know are more into it, and hopefully we can get them to come on and have a chit-chat with them as well. So seems like technically, Bladzy, things have kind of worked out pretty good on this end. I've been able to get up our graphics and stuff. Obviously, we can keep improving upon that as time goes by. But all in all, I'm pretty happy with the way things went tonight. Seems like we'll both get a chance to look at the replay and see what it's all about. But very appreciative for Dale and Jeff and whoever else was here tonight that didn't comment. Which
I know Link definitely listened. He texted me. He said he couldn't figure out how to do the chat, but he wanted to let me know that he was listening. So thanks, Link. Yep. Next time you'll figure it out. You'll figure it out for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody, have yourselves a great rest of the night. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. We appreciate it, and we will be keeping in touch via the Facebook page, Sunday Night Sports Guys. We'll put a link in the description in a little bit later once I get everything done here and figure out how this all settles itself out after the fact and stuff. But
I'm going to figure out a time for the NFL.
We will be doing an NFL preview. Yep. If it's just... We'll have somebody, you and me and somebody, we'll come up. If I got to go into friggin' Foxborough itself to find somebody, I'm going to have somebody making a comment about the NFL draft.
Oh, yeah. Maybe we get Nate Lee back like last year. Maybe we'll get
Nate's good. We need Nate's a winner. Okay. Everybody have a great night, and we'll see you again soon. Bye for now.